In goal, it's a back four of Cash, Konza, Mings and Target. McGinn, Nakamba and Douglas Luiz make up the midfield three, with Buendia, Bailey and Watkins as the attacking three. And well, it's a very warm welcome and thank you for joining us on this independent off-tube studio commentary. It's the 8:15 kickoff at Villa Park as Steven Gerrard's Aston Villa, currently in 13th place on 16 points, take on second place Manchester City, who are on 29 points. So the game is underway. City in their change of white strip this evening, ready in possession, trying to keep the ball straight from the kickoff. And it's myself, Paul Szczerbakowicz and Dan McCarthy taking you through the game. Dan, certainly Villa looks stronger under Steven Gerrard. There's a bit more organisation, but City will feel as though they're very strong favourites this evening in any case.
Yeah, they certainly will. They've played well recently of Manchester City. They do have a few injury problems to contend with. You look at the relative strength of their bench. They've got Grealish and Foden and then a load of academy youngsters on there. But looking at these two starting 11s, you would say that City are the hot favourites, but Villa will have momentum because of the first two games off Steven Gerrard.
Certainly will, as straight away an attack down the right-hand side for City. A ball put into the box. Martinez forced into making an early save. Not even got a full minute on the clock yet, and already Manchester City have their first corner kick of the evening. João Cancelo back on his more preferred right-hand side, although he doesn't really mind playing on the left as we've seen in the last few games. But it's going to be Riyad Mahrez with an in-swinging corner from the right-hand side. Plenty of players inside the penalty area. Nobody inside the 6-yard box trying to put any pressure on Martinez. That might change as this ball is whipped in. And Mahrez does whip it in. Ake just missed it at the edge of the 6-yard box. Fernandinho then flicks it to Rodrigo down the left-hand side. He plays it back in towards Jesus, who was a long way away from the box when that corner was being taken. It's then fed back towards Zinchenko, back towards Jesus, and plenty of space for him down the left-hand side. He breaks into the box and then lays it off for Rodrigo. Bit of a heavy touch, but he still gets away from the camber, and then Jesus saw the chance for a right-footed curling effort. It definitely was the right idea, but just a little bit too high in the end.
Well, 2 minutes in, and Aston Villa know what they're going to be faced up against already. Really good play down the right-hand side. Mahrez linking up with João Cancelo, a player who's been in spectacular form already this season. You'd argue that he's a Player of the Year candidate already, and that's very unusual to see from anyone who's a fullback. And then from the ensuing corners, Aston Villa didn't cover themselves too much in glory, and Manchester City looking to overload already.
Well, Villa trying to play out from the back, and they lose the ball even before they reach the halfway line. Here is Sterling now down the left. He finds Bernardo Silva, two Villa players on him, Cash and Mings. They get a little Cash and McGinn, I should say, and they get a little bit of luck as that ball just rolls off the corner flag and out for a throw rather than a corner, which Bernardo quickly takes himself. Goes back towards Rodrigo. Been about 3 touches of the ball for Villa players so far in these opening 3 minutes. It's over with João Cancelo now on the right-hand side. Plays it in towards Mahrez. And Mahrez back towards João Cancelo. Just to remind you the two 11s very quickly. It is Emiliano Martinez in goal for Aston Villa with a back four of Matt Cash, Ezri Konza, Tyrone Mings and Matt Target. John McGinn, Marvellous Nakamba and Douglas Luiz are the three in midfield. I'll come back to that in a second because Villa are caught in possession inside their own half. And here comes Mahrez now. He breaks into the penalty area. Leaves the ball now for Jesus. So a couple of attempts to tackle him there. No one can bring him down. It's still Jesus. He tries to go for the near post. Good challenge there from Mings to try and charge the shot down. And it's back with Cancelo, back to Fernandinho. This is an unbelievable start this from City, and Cancelo's ball across just a little bit too high, but he didn't really have anyone to aim for inside the 6-yard box. Back with Sterling now on the left-hand side. He's been blocked here by Cash, gets it to Rodrigo, who puts it onto his right foot, strikes it towards goal. In the end, it's a save that sees the ball go over the bar and out for a corner, but it wasn't the most confident save there from Martinez, and it's certainly not been a confident start here from Villa.
No, it hasn't. It was a shot from Rodrigo just inside the area, and it was kind of just an odd one-arm save from Emi Martinez that looped right up in the air, and you thought for a split second, could that loop into the back of the net? It didn't. It's behind for a corner.
And it's Mahrez's ball in towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Ake couldn't quite get his head to that one. McGinn looks back towards our referee, Mike Dean, like he thought it might have been fouled. But it is just going to be another corner. And Villa really do have to be on their mettle here. Manchester City wanting to start in the most dominant fashion. There is another game being played that's 8:15 this evening on this service. Everton against Liverpool. It's goalless 5 minutes into that one. As Mahrez now whips this one in. It's just over the head of Ruben Diaz. And finally a chance now for Villa to get out as McGinn heads this forward. And a chance here now for Leon Bailey to go through the gears. But he runs straight into traffic. He's brought down by Zinchenko. And that is going to be a free kick to Villa and a little bit of respite for the home side. side.
Yeah, they'll be thanking Mike Dean that he blew his whistle there, because Villa just need an opportunity to try and get themselves on the ball. This has been a really quick start from Manchester City, and we're just getting pictures from our studio of Steven Gerrard, and he's really shouting at his players. He's not happy with the slowness of the start they've made, and the more that Manchester City press them, send men forward, the more that Villa will panic when they get on the ball, and they've given it away again.
They have, just at the edge of the area. Buendia just didn't quite control a pretty simple pass, and now Bernardo Silva in possession for City, goes back towards João Cancelo. And Fernandinho now back towards the halfway line for Ruben Diaz. So even after that free kick, Villa only had about 10 touches of the ball. And it's City now back in possession. Nathan Ake finds Fernandinho. Then it's João Cancelo down the right-hand side. He's got options. Mahrez is on the overlap, and that's where the ball has gone. Mahrez gets to this one. It's a right-footed cross from Mahrez. He lifted a little bit too high. Villa are expecting that to be a goal kick. They think that the outswinger from Mahrez had already gone out, but I think it's just going to be a corner.
Yeah, John McGinn was at the back post. He thought it had already gone out, but he had to head it behind. He couldn't afford to take any chances, and now Tyrone Mings is in the box. He's directing his teammates who each of them need to be picking up, where they need to be, because Manchester City look like they could score from every attack.
Looks like it at the moment, and Martinez tested a couple of times already. His defence with plenty of work as well. 6 minutes on the clock. Independent off-tube studio commentary. It is goalless between Villa and City, but it's another corner kick to Manchester City, headed down by Rodrigo. It was Sterling's ball in from the left-hand side. There could have been a push there on Douglas Luiz. Referee Mike Dean had a good view of it. No free kick given. So possession still alive here for City inside the Villa half. It's with Mahrez on the right-hand side. He rolls this to Bernardo Silva. Under pressure there from Matt Target. Goes back towards João Cancelo. Square now to Rodrigo. Back to Fernandinho. And Manchester City very comfortable in moving the ball around here in the Villa half. It's a ball in from João Cancelo. Just a little bit too short this time. Easily swept away by Tyrone Mings back towards the halfway line. Straight away, City in possession here with Zinchenko back to Fernandinho. But this isn't a coincidence. City have turned up here with the intention of absolutely battering Villa from the start, and that's what they're doing.
Yeah, they have. They need to get the victory, of course, because it looks like it's going to be a very close-knit three-horse title race, which is great for the neutral, but because of that, Manchester City will feel that there's no opportunity for missed chances, with Chelsea and Liverpool picking up points all the time as well. There's only 2 points between those three teams, so Manchester City have come with a game plan to try and attack Villa, to try and get an early goal and really unsettle them, and they've done that so far just without scoring.
So far they've not been able to get the ball over the line, but they're trying again here now down the left-hand side. Sterling switching play over towards the right. Mahrez takes this down right on the goal line. He's got options in the box, options at the edge of the area. Goes back to Rodrigo. He's been charged down by Buendia, but he still finds time to pass it out towards João Cancelo. And now it's with Mahrez again. He looks into the penalty area, but Buendia and Douglas Luiz doing what they can to at least slow Mahrez down. He then plays it into Rodrigo. Back to Fernandinho, and quickly switched over towards Zinchenko on the left-hand side. Rare start for Zinchenko, as João Cancelo was pretty much just sewn up that left-hand side just recently. But here comes Sterling again down the left-hand side. 85% possession for City in the early stages of this game. And literally no possession for Villa at all inside the Man City half so far, as Ruben Diaz had to chase that ball down, but then he finds João Cancelo down the right-hand side, and Villa chasing shadows right now. Yeah,
they simply can't get hold of the ball, and it's kind of difficult for Villa to know what to do, whether to really press intently, as we just saw for a moment then from Leon Bailey, or whether to sit back a bit more and try and create more of a roadblock for Manchester City, because pressing will get the crowd going, but City can play through the gaps.
Well, here comes Gabriel Jesus now into the box. He couldn't quite get a shot away himself, lays it off towards Riyad Mahrez. His ball into the box is charged down, and then Buendia tries to play a quick 1-2 with Ollie Watkins. Watkins was brought down. Buendia's pass then gets stopped. Mike Dean sees there's no advantage, so it will be a free kick to Aston Villa.
I don't know whether there's any merit in them just sending everyone up. The free kicks on the halfway line, they have to get some sort of momentum. Maybe just try and unsettle the Manchester City backline. It goes against the nature, really, of, I suppose, modern managers, but City need to be put under pressure as much as possible. They have taken it short, but already they've been forced backwards because the Manchester City press is so intense.
Well, what's the logic of playing it that short when they actually sent players forward as well? So they've actually made it more difficult for themselves to play out from the back with more City players in front of them, and now now they've just gone back to what they do after every goal kick they've had so far in this game, which is trying to keep possession, with City closing it down. Tyrone Mings is eventually forced to play a long ball up to Watkins, and that's easily dealt with by Ruben Diaz and João Cancelo. Man City now back in possession. I can tell you that Liverpool have taken an early lead in the Merseyside derby. Jordan Henderson with the goal there for Liverpool at Goodison. And in the 7:30 kickoffs, it's Southampton 2, Leicester City 1. It was a delay at the Watford-Chelsea game because of an injury to a spectator. That's still 0-0. West Ham lead Brighton by a goal to 0, and it's goalless between Wolves and Burnley. But here comes City again. It's down the right-hand side. Mahrez breaks into the box. He looks for options. He tries to thread it through towards Gabriel Jesus. Just too many Villa bodies in the way, and that one is cleared up towards the halfway line. But Ollie Watkins having to do his holding up play inside his own half. But now there could be a chance for him to break out down the left as he quickly makes it to the ball just before Ruben Diaz. He needs support in the penalty area now. Buendia is arriving if Watkins can get it to him. Buendia then gets it back to Watkins. Chance for Bailey to strike it. And it's charged down just at the edge of the 6-yard box. But, well, it was a little bit slapdash, a little bit sort of a hit and hope, but it worked for Villa in the end. Almost worked.
Yeah, it certainly did. Really good play from Watkins down the left-hand side. I did have a sneaking suspicion he may have been offside, so if Bailey had finished that chance, perhaps it would have gone to a VAR review, but the ball somehow found its way to Bailey, right side of the box. He had to shoot first time, but there were just too many City bodies back in the way. But now City are coming down the other end. They're not going to like that one bit. They're going to be desperate to try and get the first goal in this game, and usually when City do get the first goal, they go on and win because they're probably the best front-running side in the Premier League. Once they get in front, they're very, very hard to stop.
It is very hard to peg City back after that. You're absolutely right. As Fernandinho now switches play over towards the left for Sterling. Cash trying to stop him. Sterling still in possession here as he tries to break into the penalty area. Nutmegs Cash and then finds Bernardo Silva, who tries to fire a ball to the edge of the 6-yard box. It would have been a simple finish if Jesus could have got on the end of it, but Nakamba gets in the way. Then it's cleared up towards the halfway line where Ruben Diaz clashes with Ollie Watkins, and referee Mike Dean gives Villa the free kick, although Ruben Diaz doesn't agree.
Yeah, they've given away a few cheap fouls, Manchester City, and Villa can take a bit of heart from that. Ollie Watkins, he plays up front on his own. It's a job he doesn't mind doing because he's really willing to graft. He's very energetic, and it's not really the quickest sort of midfield and defence that City have got with the likes of Fernandinho, Rodri and Diaz, whereas there is a lot more energy in the Villa midfield and up front. So that's something that they could look to exploit City with.
Well, they need to try and do something to break this spell of possession that City have got right now. As a bit of a strong challenge there from Fernandinho, but no foul, says the referee. City back in possession here with Nathan Ake crossing the halfway line as Zinchenko and Sterling on his left. Sterling trying to take on Cash for pace, gets away from him, but then Cash comes back. Sterling has to cut back onto his right foot, then back onto his left, into the box, stands a cross up, which is just a bit too high for Bernardo and for Gabriel Jesus. And then Nakamba is, well, he doesn't clear the ball very far. He's probably going to regret that he didn't because it's immediately picked up by Rodrigo. Sterling's ball into the box is only partially cleared. Cash now, again, dawdles on the ball at the edge of the box. It's almost as though Villa have been banned from clearing it long in this game. And then there's a bit of a tussle here at the edge of the box with Cash just lying on the ball. And I think the referee is going to have to give a drop ball here. But who's it going to be for?
Yeah, it's quite funny watching that, actually. It was almost like watching a ruck in rugby union, but Villa simply couldn't clear the lines. It was wonderful wing play from Sterling, the way that he was able to outpace Matty Cash. Cash did get back in fairness, but then he twisted and he turned, and it's a drop ball and it's competed, and Cash can eventually clear it.
Wow, that's a collector's item, that. A contested drop ball. We don't see many of them these days. After the recent changes, it's almost pretty much, apart from that kind of situation, every other situation the referee will say who he's going to drop the ball for. But Mike Dean going back into the historic rule book there to have a contested drop ball. It allowed Villa to clear their lines, but straight away Manchester City come back. 14 minutes gone, independent off-tube studio commentary. It is goalless between Villa and City, but a real bright start here for City in terms of possession as they try and get forward again down the right-hand side. Villa are starting to press a little bit higher up the field now, which is better from the home side's point of view. It's just going to make it a little bit more difficult for City to find spaces. But Ruben Diaz and Nathan Ake just exchanging a couple of passes. It's over to Sterling now on the left-hand side. Jesus has gone on the overlap and Nakamba's followed him, but Jesus gets there first, breaks into the penalty area. Oh, there's a bit of a collision there with Cash. Mike Dean immediately says no penalty. Got to say, I didn't think it was as black and white as he made it out to be there.
No, I agree with that, but I don't think it was a penalty either. I think Jesus probably was looking for it. Cash got his body across, but Jesus was facing away from goal as well. That's the sort of penalty where I think that sometimes the game can be a bit soft in terms of challenges, in terms of it still being a contact sport. I think VAR probably will have a look at it, but I agree with Mike Dean. I don't think it was a penalty.
Well, the ball hasn't gone out of places, and now we've got a free kick. It's about 45 seconds later, and now you can see straight away Fernandinho pointing to his ear, as if to say to the referee that you need to wait for the VAR people to say whether or not we're playing on. I think Mike Dean's just reminding that it's more down to him as to whether or not we wait for VAR. But
yeah, you've got to laugh. The players have cottoned onto that very quickly.
Of course,
since VAR's come in, you see a lot of players making the television gesture to referees about whether it should be a penalty or not. We'll just have another look at the replay.
I think that the main issue there is that at the start of that little collision there, it's Jesus that actually treads on Cash and then almost does a little sort of Vardy-esque style lurch forward, hoping that he might get some sort of contact. So I think fair play to Mike Dean. It might have been an educated guess, but he gets it absolutely right.
Yeah, looking at the replay, it's definitely not a penalty, but referees only get one view.
Absolutely, yes. Here comes Buendia now for Villa. Tries an effort from the edge of the area, which is charged down. He scored a goal for Villa against Brentford at the start of the season from a similar sort of place, but now Watkins trying on the left-hand side of the box, breaks into the penalty area. He's got a couple of players in the box, can't really get it across in though, and Target there just back heels the ball quite deliberately into Mahrez to win his side a throw, and a chance now for Villa to finally get the ball into the box from a throw. It's as good. They need to use it as a set piece here, really.
Yeah, they do. You wonder if they are going to maybe try and go long, but I think Matt Target's looking at options nearby and gets one in Douglas Luiz. But straight away, Manchester City with the press, they've won the ball back.
They've won it back, and it's Rodrigo with the long clearance up towards the halfway line. Konza couldn't hang around because Bernardo Silva was closing down, and he does get there just ahead of Bernardo Silva, going back to Emiliano Martinez. But 3-4 City players now pressing at the edge of the Villa penalty area. That's, bearing in mind, that's after a clearance from the edge of the City penalty area a moment earlier. So it just shows you the energy levels here from Guardiola's side. Yeah,
they're so quick to get up, and Villa have to be really wary of that. And it was interesting that when City sent the ball forward, it was John McGinn, the furthest man back, to collect the ball. So it is going to be a really difficult balancing act for Steven Gerrard this evening. And already we've just played 17 minutes. It is still 0, but I think Gerrard has almost been given a lesson here on what he's going to come up against in terms of the bigger teams.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of the bigger teams, Chelsea have taken the lead away at Watford with Mason Mount getting the goal. But here at Villa Park, it's City in possession at the edge of the area on the left-hand side with Bernardo Silva. He then goes back to Raheem Sterling. A couple of options here for Bernardo and Sterling. They go back towards Fernandinho. Pressing here from Buendia and from Bailey, but City still looking very comfortable on the ball here early on in this game. Ruben Diaz now on the halfway line, square to Nathan Ake. And you mentioned that that City bench, it really is made up of players. Well, for a start, they're nearly all English for a start, which with the Man City side is quite an unusual thing. Just shows you that they have really got some injury problems here, as Bernardo Silva trying to trick his way into the box just as he put that left-footed cross in. The ball had just crept over the line, and that is going to be a goal kick. But Pep Guardiola now looking a little bit frustrated.
Yeah, he's ever the perfectionist. I think they could be 3 or 4-0 up, and he'd find something that he'd want his side to improve on. That's just the nature of the man. They have allowed Villa to get back into this game in the last 3 or 4 minutes or so. They've been getting more of the ball, and on the very rare occasions they have been able to come forward. We saw that scuffed Leon Bailey chance. They've looked like they could potentially cause problems. So again, you go back to what City's game plan is. They want to get the first goal as early as possible, and from there on in, they should be able to pick Villa apart.
That's certainly going to be the plan for City. We know that certainly in previous seasons, sometimes if they don't score in that first 15-20 minute window, they can just run out of puff a little bit. I don't think that's going to be the case with the City this season. That bench, as we mentioned, not only is it full of youth players, there's also 2 goalkeepers as well. They've got Carson and Stefan on the bench just to try and make up the numbers this evening. As well as the younger players, they do have Foden, they do have Grealish as well as a potential cover on that bench. The Villa bench are also mostly made up of English players, but certainly Sanderson, House, Young, Davis, Tuanzebe, El Ghazi, Carney, Chukwuemeka, Ramsey and Steer on the bench for Villa this evening. So they look to try and play out from the back, and they're taking risks here at the edge of their own box. A deflected ball now back towards the line, and in the end Konza does marshal it out. But I do wonder whether or not this is Villa doing exactly what Steven Gerrard wanted but just not executing, or are they panicking and just refusing to kick it long?
Perhaps a little bit of both. I mean, Steven Gerrard is a man who's gone in with the plan. That's why Villa have appointed him. They want a forward-thinking, progressive manager, and he is sticking to his guns, and you've got to give him credit for that. But they're playing out from the back again. They're just poking it to each other on the edge of the 6-yard box almost. Cash has been penned into a corner. He's cleared it, but he's thumped it upfield. And, there's a bit of good fortune because Watkins gets to the ball.
Well, he does, and he lays it off towards Douglas Luiz, who's got a bit of space down the left, and he now rolls it forward towards Matt Target, who plays it first time into Buendia. I'm not sure that pass was meant for Buendia. I think it was meant for Watkins, and Buendia on the run just didn't quite control it as well as he would have liked. But Villa still able to recover the ball here now down the left. Here comes Douglas Luiz. Flicks that ball over the top and then volleys it towards goal, and Watkins is diving in at the edge of the 6-yard box, beaten to it by Nathan Ake.
Yeah, it's a bit unorthodox that from Douglas Luiz. He just lifted it up. I don't know if he was trying to look for a teammate. I think he was maybe looking to go for Buendia, but it sat up nicely for him to just fire it into the area. Nearly found Watkins, and that would have been some goal if Watkins had scored it.
Here come Villa now down the left, cross in from Matt Target is headed away, chased down here by Gabriel Jesus as well. But this is now the longest spell of possession that Villa have had in City's half, and it's going to be even longer here after Rodrigo bumps into Marvellous Nakamba and brings him down.
Yep, chance now for Aston Villa with the free kick. Rodrigo not happy with the decision that's been made. Nakamba using his body well. It's silly from Rodrigo. I don't know why he needs to make contact, because Nakamba's going nowhere. And now there is a real, genuine opportunity for them to get the ball into the box. Liverpool have gone 2-0 up against Everton, by the way, and I think that's bad news for Rafa.
It is bad news for Rafa. It could well be that his former club could actually contribute significantly to him being sacked by his current club, because there's a lot of discourse at Goodison right now. But a free kick to Villa on the left. McGinn lifts this one into the box. Konza with the header. It's a looping header, but unfortunately for Konza, it sort of floats up in the air. Didn't really have any power behind it, so it's a comfortable save for Edison, who then kicks it out long and finds Raheem Sterling. That's a quarterback-style pass there to Raheem Sterling. It was that quick that Sterling can't actually pass it to a teammate. He's got to hold it up, and now Zinchenko arriving, and he decides to shoot with his weaker right foot, and it wasn't a bad effort from Zinchenko in the end.
No, it didn't look too weak. I was surprised that he went for that effort. You almost thought it was Cancelo who'd come back across and had the effort on his right foot, but that pass from Edison...
Two bounces right onto Sterling's foot. Unbelievable.
I mean, he's a goalkeeper, but you almost think, is there a better passer of the ball in the Premier League? He's just ridiculous with those kinds of distribution, and he is changing the face of goalkeeping almost single-handedly. I've never seen a goalkeeper as good with the ball at feet.
Well, no, they are slowly now becoming outfield players with gloves, aren't they, in terms of their ball skills. But here comes Leon Bailey. He's got plenty of ball skills. Gets to the edge of the area, brought down by Fernandinho. Loose ball, almost recycled there by Douglas Luiz. He clashes there with Rodrigo, and Rodrigo wants a yellow card here for Douglas Luiz. I think he's asking for a bit too much. The free kick is probably just about enough there.
Yeah, it was clumsy from Douglas Luiz. He tried to take it round, and then Rodri won the ball off him, and it's one of those where he slides in. He's clearly grabbing his leg, trying to stop him from running, and I think it's a free kick, but nothing else.
Nothing else on this occasion. Great challenge there from Fernandinho to win the ball off Bailey just a moment before that foul as well. But we've hit the halfway mark in this first half. It's 23 minutes gone. It's 0-0 between Villa and Man City, and it will be down to take us through to half-time.
Yeah, cheers, Paul. It's been a very watchable affair so far. Two energetic sides going at it. Manchester City have been the better team so far, but Villa have managed to keep them at bay. And to be fair, Emi Martinez hasn't been forced into any proper worldy saves. He had that effort from Rodrigo that he tipped over the bar and it went for a corner, but nothing more than that just yet, as City pick the ball up now in midfield with Cancelo, who does like to drift in field, even though he is a fullback, making not the overlapping runs but the underlapping runs through the middle. It's with Zinchenko midway inside the Villa half on the left hand side. Sterling now up against Cash, and that's been a real battle for this game, and Cash comes out on top that time. Really good defending from him, plays a 1-2 there with Marvellous Nakamba, and Cash is running forward, tries to cross it in early, but Ruben Diaz gets in the way. It's very good defending from the Portuguese, and now his compatriots on the ball. He brings it over the halfway line. Bernardo Silva, really good play from him. He gets away from McGinn. Sterling holds his run. Sterling has the ball on the left-hand side now. He whips it in low, and it nearly comes for Jesus at the back post, but Matt Targett on it quick as a flash to slide away. And now Villa are coming forward themselves. This is end-to-end stuff. It's Cash running forward to try and get to the ball. Ake came across, and his pace just about put him off, but Villa still in possession.
Villa still in possession. Cash stopped sprinting halfway through that. It's almost like he gave up and then realised he could still get to the ball. I think there could have been a chance for perhaps a little bit more from that last move there for Aston Villa. But they'll just be happy that for the last 3 or 4 minutes the possession has gone back to around 50-50, which it was nowhere near that at the start of the game.
Yeah, Cash seemed to almost pull up, and they're now noticeably not giving him the ball. He's on his haunches ever so slightly. I wonder if he's maybe tweak something.
Yeah, potentially he's felt a hamstring or something. Yeah, West Ham did go 2 up against Brighton, but there is a VAR review in that game, so potentially that second goal for West Ham may not be given. But certainly here at Villa Park, Aston Villa have stepped up a little bit after that bright start from City, but once again now City with a chance here down the right.
Yeah, it's Mahrez with another exquisite first touch. Plays the ball back now to João Cancelo. Fernandinho just makes a run forward. Cancelo eventually finds him. Fernandinho, edge of the box. Lovely challenge though from Marvellous Nakamba. Really tough stuff as he plays that holding midfield role. He's got to try and help his defence as much as possible. Buendia running through the middle now. Buendia has options either side. He's not being challenged. He picks the wrong option because he only finds Ruben Diaz. He went for Watkins on the left. He possibly should have gone for Leon Bailey on the right. Here is Sterling now. Sterling picks up the ball on the halfway line, and City can just slow the game down to their pace because they'll certainly have a bit more energy in the tank based on how the opening 26 minutes have gone. But it is still Aston Villa 0, Manchester City 0. It's Rodri who plays the ball now to Sterling on this near side, and Bernardo Silva just in front of him, and Silva is being given a bit more of a free role than anyone else. Sterling on the left and Mahrez on the right. They're a bit more rigid in their positions. Here is Zinchenko, runs to the edge of the box, collects it on the edge of the D. Sterling is in space on this near side. He's up against Matty Cash, who appears to be running a bit better now, but Sterling gets away from him down the outside. He pulls it back, edge of the area. The shot's going to come in, and it's ended up in the back of the net, and it's Ruben Diaz, of all people, with a lovely effort from the edge of the area. It was almost hit and hope, but he curls it into the back of the net in the near post. Jack Grealish is smiling, sat on the bench, and Manchester City lead by a goal to 0.
Well, I'll tell you what, Ruben Diaz, for my money, he's always been a right footer, hasn't he? But he's managed to ping this one with the left, and I think there's many a left footer that would be jealous of this strike. Fabulous here from Ruben Diaz. Sterling on the left, gets away from McGinn, just finds that yard of space, cuts it back, and Ruben Diaz, it sits up nicely for him, really swings that left foot at it and catches it superbly right into the bottom corner.
Yeah, I don't think Sterling was looking for Diaz when he pulled that back. It did get a slight deflection on
just
it.
Gets that slight nick off Leon Bailey, doesn't it? Just off the studs, which might have just straightened the shot out slightly, but the fact that he even had the confidence to shoot it with his left foot from the edge of the box is still full credit there to Ruben Diaz.
Yeah, and I think because of that, you can't really criticise the goalkeeper too much, and as well as that, it just brushed past Matt Targett's shoulder, so I do think Emi Martinez was very much unsighted, so probably was being a bit harsh on him. You can't blame him too much. They've possibly required a bit of good fortune, but they've got it. And Manchester City, 27 minutes in, take a deserved lead thanks to Ruben Diaz, who was last season's Player of the Year. He was an outstanding addition to Manchester City. Villa come back straight away, and it's Buendia who has the shot after he received the ball inside the area, and Diaz gets back to the day job with a really good block.
He does, absolutely. Back to what he's on the pitch to do there to stop that Villa attack. Puts it out for a corner, but this is a good response from Villa. They were already starting to play a little bit better just before they conceded. It's important for them now to try and keep that momentum when they're in the attack.
And it's going to be John McGinn to take the corner on the far side as Villa seek to get back into this game as quickly as possible. An outswinger is incoming. Buendia is running to the edge of the area to maybe get the short corner, but McGinn swings it in, but it's headed away by Diaz, and now there's a counter-attack on. It's led by Riyad Mahrez running down the right-hand side. He just checks back to get away from Leon Bailey, but there are still plenty of men up in support. Mahrez has got options of Sterling on the right side, but instead He's just halted it ever so slightly. It's with Jesus now on the left because Sterling has momentarily gone to the right side. And there is an Aston Villa player who's gone down to the ground now. It looks as though Leon Bailey may have tweaked something himself, a bit like Cash earlier, but this is potentially a bit more serious. And when he was running back, he did seem to be running a bit gingerly as well.
He did. I mean, it's always a risk with the pacey players. There's always that chance that hamstring could go. It gives us another chance. He was trying to track back Mahrez, and he barely even got into a sprint, just like Cashman we saw earlier, and he realised that something wasn't right. If he was to go off, I think that probably Anwar El Ghazi would be the first player I would think of to potentially come on for him. But they'll certainly be hoping that Bailey can carry on.
They certainly will, but usually when players pull up like that, that's the end of their evening, and it's been a frustrating introduction to English football for Leon Bailey. His time at Villa has been plagued by injury, and it looks as though another one may have been suffered as we see another replay of the goal scored by Manchester City. Ruben Diaz with a sweeping finish into the near post. His only shot of the game, as you perhaps expect from a centre-back at this stage. Bailey is up on his feet. He's not moving well at all, and he's shaking his head. It looks like this is going to be the end of his evening.
It probably will be. You never want to say too soon, but the fact that he's hobbling as much as he is suggests that he probably won't be able to run this off, and it's not actually going to be El Ghazi, it's going to be Ashley Young to replace him. Yeah,
Ashley Young has spent the last few years of his career playing ostensibly as a fullback. He is a winger by trade, a former England teammate of Steven Gerrard, so they'll know each other well, and now Ashley Young is coming on to play in the position that he grew up playing in. He's not obviously going to be as quick as he used to be, and you think maybe that's Gerrard. I'm not going to use the phrase, or I don't want to use the phrase damage limitation, but putting on maybe a slightly more defensive-minded player to try and stop Manchester City getting forward.
Absolutely. I think that although, as you say, they're already trailing and they need to try and make that up, with Ashley Young, they do get the best of both. He is someone who's got that defensive experience, but he also knows how to play as a forward, as a wide player. I can tell you as well, there has been an equaliser at Vicarage Road just before half-time in that delayed game. It's now Watford 1, Chelsea 1, and Emmanuel Dennis, Nigerians, had a few goals for Watford already this season, making it 1-1.
Yeah, he's had a very good start to the season at Watford. Could be the player that scores the goals to keep them up as Leon Bailey hobbles off down the tunnel, and the bad thing about Villa Park is the tunnel isn't directly down the middle. He had to walk all the way to the far side of the pitch, and he looked devastated to have come off as well, because that's probably going to be a bit of a hamstring pull that might rule him out for the whole of the Christmas period. You never know, and it is a very busy schedule that the players have got. There's another round of midweek fixtures coming up in a fortnight as well, so really busy in the Premier League as Aston Villa get hold of the ball now with Esri Konsa. He plays it across to the skipper Tyrone Mings, an England mainstay now of Gareth Southgate's squad, even if he's not a guaranteed cast iron starter. Rolls it back to Emi Martinez. Martinez across to Tyrone Mings, and this is probably Villa's longest stint of possession, and just as I say that, Mings plays it forward. It's headed out into touch by João Cancelo, so they will get the ball back. João Cancelo and Douglas Luiz just exchanging a few words, the Portuguese and the Brazilian, so they'll be speaking to each other in the same language, no doubt. Douglas Luiz actually did sign for Villa from Manchester City. He never played in the first team with Pep Guardiola's side. He was one of those players that got farmed out on loan a few times before Villa decided to take a chance on him. It's with Fernandinho in midfield now. Plays it back now to the goal scorer, Ruben Diaz. And then apart from that lovely pass that we saw from Ederson to Raheem Sterling, we've not seen him called into action that often in the game. With Zinchenko now, midway inside his own half, plays it forward to Sterling. He links up well with Zinchenko, who had his shirt pulled by Cash, but the referee, Mike Dean, plays the advantage and allows Zinchenko to ping a wonderful crossfield ball to Mahrez. Mahrez running at the Villa defence. He's going to cut in on his left foot. He's going to shoot with his right foot. It's blocked at source by Matt Targett. Comes out now to Fernandinho and then lifted back to him by João Cancelo. Manchester City searching for a second goal. They're in the lead and they thoroughly deserve the lead as well. It's been a really good performance from them. Jesus now picks it up on this left-hand side. He's running up against Matty Cash, takes it to the edge of the area. Here is Rodrigo. He swings one across now to Mahrez. Mahrez up against target. You don't know which way he's going to go. Goes with his right foot once again. It comes off target and it's going to be another Manchester City corner.
Yeah, they're sort of going back to what they were doing right at the start of the game. City dominating inside the Villa half and eventually working a chance to at least get a set piece from this right-hand side. Villa have done well in the last 2 minutes to try and stifle City, but they're just starting to grow again now, the visitors.
Yep, they've had a 2-0 win against Brighton and a 2-1 win at Crystal Palace to open Steven Gerrard's account, but this match so far will have brought him back down to earth as Mahrez swings the ball into the box. It's Diaz again who gets the header towards goal. He's claiming that it should be a corner kick. I didn't see where the deflection came from personally. We'll have another look at the replay.
Well, it was a bit of an unusual sort of deflection. I actually think that perhaps Nakamba just beats Diaz to the ball there. He does.
Yeah,
Nakamba clearly heads that one first. But from Mike Dean's point of view, it maybe wasn't that obvious. But then having said that, the angle at which that ball came off was a bit strange. And now Villa, what are Villa doing here? They're playing out from the back, a short goal kick. 2 passes later, a ball goes right across Martinez's 6-yard box and it's out for a corner.
It reminds me of what you sometimes see from Arteta's Arsenal, just really overplaying out from the back and they're almost trying to see how close to the goal line they can do those square passes. It's madness against a team like Manchester City, and they'll be looking to profit once more. Mahrez on the far side, about to take a corner kick. He swings it to the near post. It's going to come for Jesus, edge of the area. It's blocked. I think it was Ollie Watkins in there at the back. No, it was Ezri Konsa, as now Manchester City look to come forward once again with Sterling, but he has these pocket picked by Watkins, and now Buendia over on the far side. He's not been able to get in the game often enough, Emi Buendia, and they've forced Aston Villa into another mistake. Throw-in taken down the far side. Mings there. Did he win the ball? He did, and it's going to be another Aston Villa throw-in and a bit of respite once again.
Yeah, absolutely. Bernardo just asking the question there, but it is going to be a throw to Villa. Can't say that is a 4th goal at St Mary's. It was 2-1 to Southampton. It's now 2-2. With James Maddison equalising there for Leicester City. Still 1-1 between Watford and Chelsea. West Ham do lead Brighton by a goal to 0, so that second goal was disallowed. Still 0-0 between Wolves and Burnley. And it's still Everton 0, Liverpool 2. Strong collision there around about the halfway line. I think this has been given in favour of Manchester City. Yeah,
Fernandinho down on the ground, challenged by Buendia, who's sat on the ground, and he's looking at Mike Dean with a perplexed look on his face, but he's back on his feet now, and it is going to be a Manchester City free kick. Another opportunity for them to send the ball in from the far side. João Cancelo is stood over it, but they'll have Mahrez there as well, I'm sure, as a left foot option. It's actually a little bit further out than I thought, and Cancelo is going to roll it back instead for Ruben Diaz. Here is Nathan Ake, who's very much the 4th choice centre-back behind Diaz, John Stones and Aymeric Laporte, but he's got an opportunity this evening. It's with Sterling now. Sterling up against Cash. That's been a real jewel of this first half. Sterling pulls it back for Rodrigo, who lifts it into the area. He was looking for Riyad Mahrez. He got a little bit too much pace behind that delivery, and it's going to go out of play again as we get confirmation of Maddison's goal. Those 7:30 games are around 5 minutes into the second half now. We're about 8 minutes away from the whistle blowing, and Maddison's a player who's just beginning to return to a bit of form now for Brendan Rodgers' side. As Villa prepare to take this goal kick, it's aimed long towards Ollie Watkins, who's having to fend off challenges from Nathan Ake. He does very well. It's now pulled back to Ashley Young in the middle. Douglas Luiz looking to join in and get forward. Fernandinho brings down his compatriot, and it's going to be a free kick for Villa. They wanted to take it quickly, but City were able to just swarm around Luiz and prevent him from doing so. So it will be a bit more of a methodical free kick this from Villa.
Yeah, a bit more life in the Merseyside derby potentially. 7 minutes before half-time in that game, Damari Gray has pulled a goal back for Everton, so it's 2-1 to Liverpool now.
Yeah, perhaps Damari Gray could be the one to save Rafa Benitez's bacon. If some newspaper reports were to be believed, that a loss in this game would see him get sacked from the Goodison Park job, and it'd be a cruel, ironic blow if it was Liverpool to be the side to cause that, as Luiz sends the ball in, looking for target at the back post. It's intercepted, and another Potential counter-attack could be on for City here, but Watkins does well to swarm around Bernardo Silva, but City so good in those tight positions, can play it across the back line and out once more. Here is Zinchenko on the near side. Young and Buendia are pressing, forcing City to go backwards. It's now with Ederson in his own 6-yard area, but he's certainly not going to panic when players are running at him. Ake once again rolls it back to Ederson. 39 on the clock. It's Aston Villa 0, Manchester City 1. Ruben Diaz with the only goal of the game so far. Ake spreads it forward now, looking for Zinchenko. Zinchenko infield for Rodrigo, brings it over the halfway line in the centre circle. Across now for Cancelo, who's got McGinn for company. Cancelo brings it inside, threads a through ball now for Gabriel Jesus. He's forced a little bit further out wide than he'd like to be. Mahrez now exchanging passes with Cancelo, and Jesus is there as well. Nice triangles from Manchester City. They're just forced into a slight error. They retreat backwards, but they're still in possession now. Here is João Cancelo, and back with Ruben Diaz. Mahrez once again up against John McGinn. City experts at doing this, just passing the ball around and dictating the game at their own tempo.
This is exactly what City are good at, and you've got to be very careful as the opposition not to be lulled into that. But here comes Sterling now breaking into the box.
Yeah, Sterling getting into the box, tries to get away from Cash, but the last few times that Sterling's gone up against Cash has been smart to it, so he's perhaps learning his lesson from the way that Sterling moves at him. Here is Cancelo. It's a really good challenge by Matt Targett, and then uses his body to get in the way of Cancelo, who barges him down to the ground, and it's going to be a free kick for Aston Villa. What do you think Steven Gerrard needs to change at half-time, assuming the scoreline remains 1-0?
I think from, well, first of all, he's got to try and drum a bit of consistency into his players if he can in that 15 minutes. This playing out from the back is what he wants, but he doesn't want his players to put themselves under pressure. Too many times Villa have played some very slack balls. Potentially he will tell them to just be that little bit more direct when playing out from the back, because on a couple of occasions when they've cleared it long, it actually has got to Watkins and he's been able to make it stick. I think that from Gerrard's point of view, the thing that he'll be disappointed about is that his side, just as they were starting to look like they were more level in the game, that's when they've conceded a goal.
Yep, that's the disappointing thing for Steven Gerrard so far. But Manchester City, so ruthless when they're at their absolute best. As they're taking a bit of time over this throw-in, it's finally found Rodri, who very un-Manchester City-like, just belts it out of play, and it's going to be a throw-in for Villa instead. Pep Guardiola and Steven Gerrard, opposing managers in the Premier League. Two wonderful players. Obviously, Gerrard far more known as a player in this country for the great things he did with Liverpool, the Champions League triumph of Istanbul, and I think the one thing that Gerrard will bring, he just brings that aura around the place in terms of the training ground, and a bit like when he was at Rangers, he'll be able to persuade perhaps players who are maybe a better level than Villa to go and play for him.
Absolutely, that's the hope. It's the fact that he's proven that he has got great managerial credentials from his time at Rangers. Now Villa win the ball back and a chance to try and get into the box.
Well, Sterling's gone down. They've not played it out. Cash will get the cross in. It's too far and it floats in the direction of Cancelo. And he and Mahrez just exchanging a few headed passes with each other. Mahrez eventually clears it for Fernandinho, who plays it down the channel. It's turned out to be a very good ball for Gabriel Jesus. Can he square it for Bernardo Silva? Yes, he can. Oh! What a finish that is from Bernardo Silva. He catches it sweetly on the volley. I wonder if Sterling has got back up to his feet now. I thought Manchester City were going to play that out, but Fernandinho's ball down the channel found Jesus. He crossed it in. It looked initially like it was going to go slightly behind Bernardo Silva, but he catches it flush on the volley. It's a wonderful finish.
I'd say if you're playing the PlayStation, you've got a double tap circle to score a goal like that. Unbelievable from Bernardo Silva. It's a superb counter-attack from City. That was after they were under pressure at the edge of their own box. But Aston Villa caught with a sucker punch here. Sterling is down. That cross from Cash was over here. It's those little details that can sometimes make a difference. And then just a little bit of good play there from Mahrez to hold the ball up at the edge of his own box. And then a superb, was it a clearance or is it a direct pass there from Fernandinho? I might have to give him the benefit of the doubt. But once this cross cross is put in by Jesus. I think initially I thought Bernardo might wait for this to bounce, but he decides to catch it flush on the volley, and goodness me, what an effort that was.
Yeah, it's one of those crosses where I don't think it's a great cross, but Bernardo Silva makes it a great cross because he knows to hold his movement. It lands to him really nicely to catch that one on the volley, and Martinez did put an arm out, but he simply couldn't react quickly enough because it fired past him into the roof of the net. 2-0 just before half-time. That's a hammer blow for Aston Villa's chances, and you can only see Manchester City now going on to record a fairly big victory.
Yeah, I think from this point now, 2-0 up at half-time. It probably is going to be 2-0 at half-time. We've got about a minute to go before we hit injury time here at Villa Park. It's hard to see how Villa find a way back from here. Not because Villa aren't capable of scoring 2 goals against City, but the way City are playing this evening, it's just very hard to see where Villa are going to get the chances from.
Yeah, it's one of those performances where you look at City and you think they're really in the mood to get another big win. That they've been used to dishing out some tonkings in Guardiola's reign. They've got the record for the most number of goals scored in a Premier League season. That was 106 when they picked up the title and won it with 100 points. That was the 2017-18 season when they were quite simply magnificent and the best team in the country by a long chalk, because Gerrard has that usual stone-faced, stern look on his face. He won't be too happy with what he's seen from his side as City get the advantage.
João Cancelo hit the deck there. He was writhing around in pain. Mike Dean made the point of actually pointing at Cancelo, saying no foul, play on, play on. Cancelo is still down, and I think City now are going to put the ball out. We're into 2 minutes of injury time.
Yeah, Cancelo is holding his left ankle by the looks of things. Just have to see if we get a replay how severe the challenge was on him. But as Paul said, Mike Dean told City to play on. They certainly did. Bernardo Silva having a bit of a smile with teammates. Jesus put the ball in, and that's a great finish. It's not from the edge of the area. It is in the box. It's maybe around 15 yards out. But it's the technique and the ability to keep it just below the post. Yeah,
nice touch that in that particular replay we saw that you could actually see a couple of the Villa fans behind the goal applauding that one. Sometimes even if it's the opposition that are scoring, you just have to tip your cap and say it's a superb strike. Four strikes from Villa, one of them on target, 11 shots from City, 5 of them on target. They're dominating in the scoreline and in the stats as well.
Yep, they're dominating in every aspect. Manchester City and Aston Villa. Damage limitation, I mentioned that phrase earlier. That might have to be the case going into the second half, as John McGinn, did he run that ball out of play? He didn't. 2 minutes of time, by the way, were allocated by the fourth official, and we've played about a minute and a quarter of that so far. Aston Villa 0, Manchester City 2, and Manchester City coasting to what could be a big victory, and particularly with Chelsea only drawing at Watford. Everton have got a goal back against Liverpool. If that Chelsea game stays as it is, then City will go top of the table at the end of play tonight, but we do have an awful long way to go. But finally it looks as though we might have a Premier League title race that doesn't involve one runaway leader, as we have done for the last few years now. Manchester City last season and Liverpool the year before. Here is Rodrigo now, squares the ball across to João Cancelo, who's perfectly fine to carry on. Can City get a third goal just before half-time? Here is Mahrez up against Matt Targett. Mahrez crosses. Mings can head it behind. Are we going to have time for a corner kick? We're not. That is half-time. So at the break, it's the Portuguese duo of Ruben Diaz and Bernardo Silva who've given Manchester City a 2-0 lead at Aston Villa.